I just want to say thank you for all the kind words and encouragement after I posted last week chapter 3 of my life talking about my depression. And it was very, very difficult. And knowing that the devil tried so hard to keep me from posting that and getting through the recording of it just made me realize just how important sharing that part of my life with you all, and that it was going to do some good. And the feedback has been amazing, and I just want to say thank you for taking time to listen to this and learning about me. And for those of you that I minister to every week, now you know a whole lot more about me, but there's still a lot to learn. And in this chapter 4 as I call it, is life after the breakdown. And I survived a nervous breakdown at 29. And this is just the part telling what actually happened in the midst of it, but then the years afterwards. And once again, Lucy's here, and tomorrow she will turn 9. So when you're seeing this, she will have already had her birthday. And so if she chimes in, which she is known to do at times, just know that it's the birthday girl and it's her world, and she does as she pleases. But in this part, I want to share how if you are going through a dark time, if you've been through a dark time and you're still not where you want to be in your recovery from a nervous breakdown, let me give you some tips. There is no shame in getting help. I was brought up in a household that you didn't talk about your problems. You certainly didn't take medication for them. And I had to break that mold. I had to break that cycle. I had to go to therapy. I had to have professional help. I had to go to a doctor and get on antidepressants. For 22 months, I took antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines, and there is no shame in it. If I needed them today, I would be on them. Luckily, I felt good, and I started weaning myself off of them. And if I ever felt that I needed them again, I would not hesitate to go back on them. It took several different types till we found one that worked really well for me, and that was frustrating because when you're already in a sad and depressed and sick state of mind, you want something that is going to boost you quickly, and it's a process, and it does not happen overnight. You didn't get in that way overnight, and you're not going to be healed overnight. So as my doctor said, we're going to keep working and keep working. And we found an antidepressant and anti-anxiety medicine that helped to build me up and help me with that. But also I started with therapy, and I found a Christian therapist, and she is wonderful. And I always say that Dr. June Nichols just was amazing. And she later told me in therapy, the first time that I went, she said, when you walked in, I thought you were lost. Because I think I brought this up in chapter 3, that I didn't know what to wear to therapy, because if you wear something that's too dark, oh my gosh, she is depressed. Or if she wears something too cheerful, oh my goodness, she's in denial. So I tried to pick something very neutral in true Brandy fashion. I think I tried on about 20 different outfits. And of course my hair was just right. My makeup was on. I went in there masking as she told me, you present to the world this well put together package, while on the inside was nothing but a mess. And she said later on in years, she said after she thought I was lost, and she revealed that within a few minutes that she realized that I was had a lot of mess going on inside. She said, so you were the prettiest mess that I had ever seen. And I still laugh when I think of that. Yes, we can put out our best face, put on our best face, put out to the world this image that we all want everyone to see. But in reality, what's on the inside is who we really are. And that's why I try now, if I'm having a bad day, you're going to know I'm having a bad day. And I talk about it. And in the past few weeks, not only the emotional strain of knowing that I was going to have to share all of this with you, it took a toll on me. But also I had, some minor health issues. So we're working to get those fixed. I go to a natural healing doctor now, and it just works best for me, a homeopathic type treatments. But in the days after I had the encounter with God and the devil, and one was pulling me one way and God was pulling me the other, and I did rise up and take the Lord's hand and start that long journey of healing. It didn't happen overnight. It's years. I still, as anyone, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Don't let either one of them consume you. That's just, until we go to heaven, we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days, and some days we're going to have a mixture of all of it. But if we truly trust and obey God's plan for our lives, then He will get us through it. And as I said in the last chapter, the good news is there is a happy ending. I'm still here 16 years later, and I've survived all my best days, but I've also survived all of my worst. And so have you. And I have no doubt that until the day comes when the Lord calls me home, I will survive all my best and all my worst. And there was a Bible verse that I love. Well, it's actually several. That kind of talks about God lifting us out of that murky pit that I said that I was in. And I was in bondage from all of the stuff that I thought and that the devil had deceived me into believing about myself, that God didn't feel that way about me. The world didn't see it that way. And I had to learn how to pull myself up and out of that murky pit of depression and disappointment and anger that the devil had me so tied in bondage. And so in Psalms 40, 1-5, I waited patiently and expectantly, which, as a lot of you know, expectant, is my word for 2021. So I love it when it shows up in Scripture. I waited patiently and expectantly for the Lord, and He inclined to me and heard my cry. He brought me up out of the horrible pit, out of the murky clay. He set my feet upon a rock and steadied my footsteps and established my path. Well, that's exactly what He did for me that day on the couch when I cried out to Him, make me better or bring me home. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear with great reverence and will trust confidently in the Lord. Blessed is the man who makes the Lord his trust and does not regard the proud nor those who lapse into lies. Many, O Lord my God, are the wonderful works that you have done, and your thoughts toward us, there is none to compare with you. If I would declare and speak of your wonders, they would be too many to count. And that is absolutely true. Through this 16-year journey and all of the years prior to it, the Lord was always with me. And I didn't always realize it because I was living out of what He wanted me to do. But now that I realize He was there every step. But He is such a loving, caring, and a God that gives us free will. But at any time we can go to Him, ask for forgiveness, and get right back on track. We can take detour after detour, and He is always there to bring us back into alignment with His plan. But He is not a dictator. And people say all the time, well, He could have stopped this. Yes, He could have, and He tried. But He does let us have our free will. He wants us to come to Him freely. But He also lets us make our mistakes freely. And so He's there. I know that my God loves me. He has forgiven me. He has renewed me. And that is why I'm here now as a minister. Because He loved me and He wanted to use all the things that I have been through to help you and possibly someone that you know. So, as I said, I went to therapy. I took antidepressants. I stopped focusing on what I didn't have in my life, which was the husband and the children, and started focusing on what I did have. I had, a great church family, a great work family, a great friends and family, and I just started being grateful. And you can't be depressed and thankful at the same time. Because when you're depressed, you're thinking about what you don't have and you don't think of the positives. But when you are having a grateful heart and a thankful heart, then that takes it off of the negative and puts the positivity out there. And I would say most of the people, like in percentages, maybe 75% of the people that are in my life daily now that mean so much to me, I hadn't even met yet. And I would have missed out on so many great times in the past 16 years. Yes, there have been a lot of heartache over the past 16 years. But there's been so much joy. And it is a balance. Until we get to heaven where there's no more suffering, no more pain, we will experience that here. And we have to learn how to balance it. And that is what having that close, intimate relationship with the Lord gives us. He helps get us through each day. He's already gone ahead. He already knows how it's going to go. And He comes back to be with us and guide us through it. If we trust, listen, and obey. And that is something that does not happen overnight. That is something you must practice. And if you're like me, you're stubborn and hard-headed and want things your way. And sometimes I still struggle. Even though I know my Lord's plan for my life is better than what I have, I am impatient. We are all going to suffer until we get to heaven. And all of those flaws in us and that sinfulness in us is also to draw us nearer to Him. So don't ever forget that part. I also started focusing on things that I'd always wanted to do, but I was so focused on getting remarried and having children and this and that and another that I never focused on anything else really. So during the time of recovery, I started focusing on hobbies and learning new things, and I took up tennis. I had never played a sport. Music was always my background. I was in the band and took up a lot of my time, and music just came easy to me. Sports is something I say I'm a professional spectator. I love sports, but I'm very uncoordinated and very impatient, as I said. So tennis is something that you can take up at any age. They say golf's the same way. I tried golf one time and I was just incredibly frustrated. So several of my friends, my boss, they all encouraged me to take up tennis. It would be good exercise because I needed that. I need to lose weight. Weight is something else that I have struggled with my entire life. And we'll get to that later on. And so I prayed about it. And I found a great coach. And I love Coach Smith. He's just, he was like a father figure and a coach. And so at 31, I took up tennis. And I love it to this day. I don't play it as much as I wish I could. But that was something that I did for myself. And I highly recommend, if there's something you want to try, it doesn't matter if you fail or you're not any good at it. I'm not great at it. But just go out there and have fun with it. I think we get too serious in this world about being perfectionist about things. I know I am. I'm very type A in my personality, so I don't do a lot of things if I think I'm not going to be great at it. But I'm relaxing on that. The older I get, the more it's like, well, I'm not ever going to know if I don't try. Try new things. Do something for yourself. As I say in many of my posts on social media, do something today your future self will thank you for. Well, it's been 14 years since I hit the court the first time, and I still love it as much today as I did then. I am better at it today than I was on that first day, but not great. I'm not great at tennis, but I love it. So find something that you've always wanted to do and just try it. And if you're not any good at it or you get frustrated with it like I did golf, then you don't got to do it again. But you're never going to know if you don't try. And I was always too afraid to try things that I thought I would fail at. Now, I'll just try it and see how it goes. And that is something that my therapist also recommended. But God has to be at the center of everything. He needs to be the first person that you communicate with each morning. And He led so many wonderful people into my life during that time of my recovery. And He has led so many wonderful people since the time of my depression. And if you've been through something like I have, then be that positive influence in other people's lives. You just never know what other people are going through that they don't talk about. But you witnessing and you sharing your story as I have, it's there to help others, and it's to give them hope. And going through all of that was to get my faith stronger, grow me closer to the Lord, and prepare me for even bigger things coming. And in the next chapter, we'll talk about one of the hardest years of my life after the depression and the recovery from it. And I just believe going into 2011, I wouldn't have made it through it in the way that I did had it not been for going through a nervous breakdown at 29. And it was an incredibly difficult year, and I will share that with you next. But in the meantime, I have one last Bible verse that I want to read to you. It is from Isaiah 60:1. Arise from spiritual depression to a new life. Shine, be radiant with the glory and brilliance of the Lord. Your light has come, and the glory and brilliance of the Lord has risen upon you. For in fact, darkness will cover the earth, and the deep darkness will cover the peoples. But the Lord will rise upon you, and his glory and brilliance will be seen on you. I get told that quite a bit lately. You're absolutely radiant, and you're just a light when you walk into the room. That is a very high compliment. I don't feel that way about myself. I do try to be a light in this world, and I do try to be a great Christ representative, and I encourage you to be that each and every day. But there is life after depression. There is life to be lived after suicide attempts or thoughts of suicide. There are people that will help you. There are things that can help you and support you. And if you turn to the Lord and put him in the equation, leading the way, he will lead you to the right people, the right things that you need in your quest for recovery, just as he did for me. If you ever need me, you know that you can reach out to me on any of my social media pages. I appreciate your time, and until we talk again, I hope that you have a safe and blessed week ahead. Goodbye.